Fantastic. This is GT Racing right now.
He's got traction, he's going the outside, both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson! Anderson's up to
Oh my god!
Oh.
Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get rolled!
It's very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly.
Oh, there we go!
Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my god!
God, what?
Welcome one and welcome all to SimSpeed TV for a very special event. Today we are racing for a cause. The SimWorks Sports Car E-Series that we broadcast here on SimSpeed TV is racing in support of the Bears of Hope Pregnancy and Infant Loss Support charity. And we are racing for Tom and Kellie Duggan. Of course, Tom Huggan, a sim racer and known within the AusNZ sim racing community. Their daughter, Maddison May, was born sleeping on September the 14th. And today we are raising money for Bears of Hope so that the Huggans can extend support to other grieving families out there in Australia. It's a pleasure for us to bring it to you live here on SimSpeed TV. My name's Reese Gardner. Joining me in the commentary box is Jay Kennedy. Jay, we have got a night of racing ahead of us. It's Phillip Island in the GT4 class, and I'm looking forward to some good action.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it too. Hello, everybody, and we do extend our condolences to the Huggans, but to get out there and support a cause is something we always are well and truly behind here at SimSpeed. So glad that we can be a small part of their work in helping other grieving families out there, which is a great thing that those guys are doing in honour of Maddison May. But the racing for tonight that we're going to have is going to be epic. We haven't seen a lot of GT4 racing here on SimSpeed, but what we have seen in the past is fantastic. We're going to see some very, very tight racing between the BMW, the McLaren, and the Porsche.
That we are. To be specific, the BMW M4, which we see making its way around the circuit right now. This is Tom Duggan that we check out on track at the moment on his qualifying run with his daughter's name emblazoned on the side of his car. That is beautiful. Hopefully for Tom, this event is going to be a good one in terms of results, but certainly regardless of how he finishes tonight, he'll certainly be happy and be proud, as we are, of the amazing support that has come out of the sim racing community here. We've got drivers streaming on Twitch. We've got various companies and figures within the Australian sim racing community donating money to the cause set up by Kellie Duggan, which you can find in the description, the YouTube description of this live stream. But it's certainly going to be a fun one here, Jay, tonight in terms of the racing action. We have a 30-minute race coming up for the first of the night. Then after that, we've got an inversion of the top 10 for a 45-minute longer race. That's going to require a stop for fuel. So a bit of strategy work for the drivers here tonight.
Yep, it's going to be a very, very strategic race. And we also have the magic button too that we can throw a safety car if we so choose to. So that adds an extra spice if we want it to be spicy, or if someone wants to bribe us for a little bit of extra money in the charity pool, we're open for bribes as well.
Indeed we are. So if you can, make sure to donate. It all goes to a good cause, sending packs to families that need it in hospitals, as well as ongoing support being given to families that have lost children. Sonny Kanchan is the one on top in the qualifying session at the moment, and his number 10 Porsche Cayman. 1 minute 34.8. He ran a 34.6 in practice. So it will be interesting to see if he can maintain that pace. Towards the line he comes. It's going to be a 34.798. Good improvement for him. But he's going to have to look over his shoulder for Glenn Wood, who I think has just gone up to pole position there, setting his final qualifying time. Wood also topped the time sheets in practice. So unfortunately there for Sonny Kanchan, pole position is out of reach, but can he outrace Glenn Wood here in the first 30-minute race tonight? It'll be interesting to see. Wayne Losh driving the McLaren. He is going to be coming up to the end of his second lap here, Jay. It's good to see the variety of cars we're seeing here tonight. We've got pretty much equal representation of all brands out there, and the McLaren, the surprise addition to the service, as that is certainly not a time that Wayne Losh will be happy with. It actually looks like he got an off track on that lap, so it won't count. It's going to be P3 at least for him tonight, but it's awesome to see this variety of machinery out here, Jay, as Wade comes to the end of this lap.
Yeah, it's always cool when we've got these sort of races with the multi-class aspect that we see all the different manufacturers represented. We see VRS GT, we often only see maybe 3 or 4 of the 8 represented, but in this we're seeing literally every single car out there, and as you said, very, very even representation throughout the field. And doesn't look like the balance of performance is too bad either, because the Porsche and the McLaren very, very close. And then the BMWs aren't that far behind as well. So not necessarily that it's down to the car. It may just be down to the pace of the drivers. And speaking of Glenn Wood, he does have a little bit of an advantage over everyone else in the field, because, of course, Glenn races in the Australian GT Championship in GT4 class.
He does indeed. So that certainly explains a few things right there. Jesse White-Carrig, another one of the drivers here tonight with... well, we always like a nice Mobile 1 livery, don't we? Unfortunately, that's going to be that run abandoned for the McLaren driver, bringing it into the pits. The number 44 of Jamie Willits. Let's see how well he does. He's got a few seconds to make up if he wants to try and get further up the field here. coming through MG here at Phillip Island. Another one of the BMW drivers we saw out there, Jay, you focused on him for a bit, Richie Domingo. He's doing something special on his Twitch stream tonight. He's got a few donation goals that he'll be reaching in support of Bears for Hope, and he's got a few challenges to set along the way as Willits comes round to set a 1 minute 36.9, and that's going to put him just up above Jesse White-Carrig.
Did have a little look over on his Twitch stream just before on Richie Domingo, and he did have face paint and things covering his face and all sorts of things going on. So yeah, I think he's going to end up looking like, as you should in a charity event. You should look like a bit of a goose if you're doing a charity event, and he's definitely going to look like one at the end. So good on him for doing that, and that's what we love to see about these events. And that's why we love getting behind these events, because they are fun, and the AusNZ Sim community always rally behind a cause.
I do indeed. If you want to check out Richie Domingo's stream and chuck him a donation here or there, of course a donation to the charity, and see exactly what he does, you can go to twitch.tv/RichieD. That's RICHIE D and then 3 E's. Richie D. For $25, foundation will be applied to his face. $50, eyeshadow. $100, lipstick. For $200, holding a teaspoon of wasabi in his mouth for a lap. $300, he'll scull an alcoholic beverage. And if he reaches $600, he'll take a mouthful of Samyang 2X spicy hot ramen with no relief for 1 lap. Those are definitely some interesting goals, and it'll certainly make for some nice live stream entertainment. So once again, twitch.tv/RichieD if you want to check out Richie Domingo's stream. He'll be starting quite a ways in the field here as we check out our starting grid for the Bears of Hope charity event. Glenwood and Sonny Canchin, the front row. That will be very hotly contested. Wayne Losh and Aaron Oliver will start alongside each other on row 2, with Damien Seeger and Lucas Stassi rounding out the top 6. Simon Joel Smith and Todd George on row 4, with the top 10 rounded out by Joel Proctor and Adam Marinovich, and then Tom Huggan and Greg Holmes rounding out the top 12.
Then from 13th, we've got Neil McKenzie alongside Anthony Connors, with Lucas Mikulev and Mark Foster on row number 8. Row 9, Dave Gogol and Jamie Willits. Then on row 10 is Jesse White-Carrig and Tony Vaseles on the 20th position. 21st will be Darren Linus, with Brenton Bull, Graham Ellis and Bard Rodkin rounding out the top 24.
Richie Domingo will start out of 25th position with Carl Goodger alongside him. Craig Ellis and Ben Ferguson sharing 27th and 28th, with Craig Taylor the last car to set a time in qualifying. Then we got Jake Kinani, Darren Whittington, Jamie Walker, Wade McCulloch and Caleb Patterson rounding out our 34-car field here tonight. This is a very substantial field of GT4 racing cars, and looks like we are going to be going on a formation lap here. Of course, rolling starts, very typical in GT events. These things are a bit difficult to get off the line with the way they're geared and the traction control they use.
Yeah, standing start in GT racing never goes well, so good idea to make sure it stays with the rolling start. It does give the drivers a little bit of a chance to calm the nerves as well, because these sort of races you do feel a little bit nervous as well, because you don't want to be the one to mess it up in these sort of races, or you don't want to be the one that messes it up for everyone else, that is. So fingers crossed we get a fairly clean start and a decent field as well. Huge field of GT4 runners, which is great to see as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Great stuff to see. This wide variety of cars. Very nice amount of colours here on the grid at Phillip Island, and thank goodness we aren't going for a standing start, because it is very, very tight out there. So then, pace car moves away, and we can go on a bit of a slow motion tour of the Phillip Island circuit here. We run down to turn 1. Of course, the draft, very essential down the front straight. And you can certainly go for a move into turn 1, but you're going to have to be assertive about it, because outside for turn 2 becomes outside for turn 1, becomes inside for turn 2, the southern loop, and that's very difficult to run side by side through at the best of times.
We've seen in races past that more and more often that holding the outside through turn 1 actually can lead to that pass being completed by the apex of turn 2. So don't necessarily look to see guys trying to dive it up the inside at turn 1. Holding it around the outside seems to be the new preferred way of doing things around this track, which sort of surprises me a little bit, but in the same breath, if you can do it and if you've got the grit, why not go for it?
Yeah, for sure. Stoner corner the drivers are going through at the moment. It's flat out in any car, but you've got to get through it right in order to set yourself up for this. The Honda Hairpin, the prime overtaking opportunity on this track. You're likely to see some big dives here at this very tight corner, but there's definitely a chance for the drivers to come back at each other into Siberia here, the next hairpin. It's banked, and you can certainly hold the outside around here. We've seen some epic moves with big traction around the outside of the exit here.
It's a surprisingly tough corner, isn't it? On paper, it's very, very simple, but it's been a corner that throughout the years that I always found that I never could get right. It just seems that there's so many different lines through Siberia, and none of them seem to be perfect. So very, very tough corner, up through Hayshed, and now up through very, very cool section track up through Lukey Heights.
Yeah, absolutely. Lukey Heights, place where you can set up a move here into MG. If you get on the throttle a bit earlier than your rival, you can certainly get the momentum and stick one up the inside here. And then pretty much that's it in terms of overtaking opportunities, unless you get a run out of the penultimate corner here. But the drivers will have the first part of the lap on their minds as the pace car comes into the pits. Racing for Bears for Hope. What kind of a start here will happen up at the front of the field here? Joel Proctor and Adam Marinovich are going to lead them away here at the front of the field, and we are away. The green flag flies. Not the best of starts for Todd George. He's getting swamped by the field as they come into turn 1 for the first time, and leading the way, it's going to be Joel Proctor with Damien Seeger pushing him incredibly hard here into turn 2. Oh, has to get on the brakes a bit hard there. He's run wide. That's going to allow an opportunity for Simon Joel Smith to get up the inside, and we've got a car off there at the second turn. Not sure who that is. Might actually be Joel Proctor, who led the way. Unfortunately, he's overcooked it into turn 2. So that means leader of our race is now Aaron Oliver, who makes the move on Simon Joel Smith coming into the Honda Hairpin. Bit of a chaotic first lap so far here, Jay.
Yeah, relatively clean, but you're right, chaotic nonetheless, and just the one off there for Joel Proctor, but being able to get back on the track pretty cleanly and cause any extra issues. Got through Honda and Siberia clean as well.
Yeah, we have indeed. Looks like reverse top 10 for this race, actually. That's the reason why we saw Marinovich and Proctor on the front row there. As down into MG corner, number 24, Glenn Wood, trying to work his way up the field here, and Glenn is already up to second place, so he's absolutely monstering it out there. Sonny Kanchin hasn't had quite the same luck. He's stuck in 6th place at the moment.
Stars has just got off the track. Damien Seeger running well off the circuit, as well as Greg Holmes as well. They both bring it back on the track. Looks like they're okay. No incident involved there. Aaron Linus also off the track in the same spot. Yeah,
and I saw Jamie Walker falling down the order a bit as well. Joel Proctor has come into the pits, and that's certainly abnormal. You're not required to pit in this race, so evidently there's something wrong there for Mr. Proctor. There's, oh my goodness, did you see that, Jay?
I did. I saw a little flash. Jake Kane.
Goodness me.
Way off the circuit there. Scary moment. Scary spot of the track to run wide as it's side by side. Just outside the top 10, Neil McKenzie. It's deep.
Goodness. Yeah, that is very deep. Manages to keep it on track though and hold off the advances of the cars behind. It is absolute bedlam here in the midfield as up the inside Lucas McAuliffe defends the position from Neil McKenzie there. Meanwhile, further up the front here, we've got Wood on the back of Aaron Oliver. Glenn Wood is doing quite well at the moment. managed to overcome the dramas of the first lap, trying a move there at MG, but not working. Remember, these races, they're not exactly long, but you still have to take care. Even though this is technically a sprint race, you still have to have that endurance mindset when racing these cars.
100%. You can't ruin it too early as well. And Oliver just had to get out of the throttle a tiny little bit there. So in the background, you saw Simon Smith run absolutely off the circuit. He's run it way too deep. Wood now looks to the inside into turn one. And Aaron Oliver's played this game before. He knows it's best to tuck in behind and try and set the move up to come back later on.
Indeed, Glenn Wood, with the pace that he's been showing, it's looking like he might pull away in the lead here once things settle into a rhythm. And speaking of drivers competing with Glenn Wood, Sonny Kanchan right on the back of Wayne Losh now for third place. The McLaren there just up ahead of him with one of the most spectacular liveries in the field. On board with Sonny coming down into the Honda hairpin, and seems that he's working it okay right now, just taking a bit of care in these opening laps, and then once he gets some clear air, once he's past Wayne, he can certainly dial up the pace. But Losh is not making this easy for him. Hasn't caught up quite as quickly as Sonny Kanchan might have liked, so this is going to be an interesting battle here as the rest of the field has largely fallen into single file running. In terms of close battles, these are some of the closest that we've got at the moment, but I'm looking further back in the field. Looks like Bard Rodkin has had a couple of issues. He's fallen down behind Craig Ellis, down in the high 20s in terms of position. And Ellis fighting with Craig Taylor just up ahead. It seems that no matter where you are in the field, you've got someone to race with here.
There's not many people that aren't in a fight at the moment, which is great to see and what you want in these sort of races. There are plenty of battles going on as Jamie Willett's into the pits, and it's not the preferred way to do it. So, as you said before, not sure why people are pitting. We weren't advised that there was a pit stop in race one. Definitely know there's going to be one in race two, but race one should be an out-and-out sprint from what we've been told, but we've been thrown curveballs before.
Yeah, certainly
Tom
has.
Smith off this track at turn one.
Oh dear, that's not a great place to have that happen. Looks like he has re-entered the track safely. We've also got Carl Goodger and Ben Ferguson in the pits as well, and it seems that in terms of stop times, drivers are mostly all over the place. Wade McCulloch coming in for a pit stop earlier on, 14.3 seconds stopped. Jamie Willits has just been stopped for around about 13 seconds. Seems to me that Carl Goodger, 16 seconds. So, yeah, maybe the drivers are putting a bit of fuel in, maybe changing tyres. I'm not too sure what's going on.
Maybe they're just trying to work out what the preferred way to do things in race two is. Not sure.
Yeah, of course.
We'll find out what's going to happen if everyone dives into the pits right at the last second. Then we know that we've been thrown a curveball, which is what's happened before many times.
Yeah, of course. And remember, this is a charity event. It's a one-off event. These guys aren't fighting for a championship, so it doesn't matter too much if you end up throwing a result in race one. Certainly, what matters the most is that you are competing as Sonny Kanchan, suffering a little bit of understeer there through the final corner, but he gets a great run here on Wayne Losh and might be able to go for third here coming into turn one. Let's see what goes on as Tom Huggan and Todd George have just come into the pits with Lucas McAuliffe. Kanchan completes the move, but with the pits again, a hive of activity here, Jay, I think we have indeed been thrown a curveball. The drivers have to pit in race one too.
Unless they are very marginal in fuel, and some of the guys are thinking, well, I'm just going to pit. And other guys that are very good at fuel saving, I think, okay, I'm just going to run it and see how I go.
Yeah, potential for that. We are running with a fuel tank restriction. Oh, goodness me. Oh, my Lord. That was quite hair-raising there for Sonny Kanchan. Trying his best there to get past the lapped car of Brad Rodkin, and I think was expecting him to go a slightly different way there, on board with him on the virtual racing school replay. You see what happened here, coming through Stoner Corner. Looks like Rodkin was following the racing line, got on the brakes early, but I don't think he was expecting Kanchan to try and go for the inside move.
That was scary, and how many times in the past have we seen that end in absolute disaster? So good driving there from Sonny to make sure that he didn't end up tagging the car of Rodkin and then taking out another 15 cars behind. So good driving from one of the better Oz NZ drivers, one of the highest star rating drivers in Australia and New Zealand.
Absolutely. Well, looks like the races, well, I was about to say it have fallen into a rhythm, but we've got an incident up there at Lukey Heights. Jamie Walker involved, and also Jesse White-Carrick manages to get going, but evidently they've had a bit of a coming together into one of the faster corners on this track. We'll have a look at the virtual racing school replay again, see how it went down.
No contact at all.
Oh. Yeah, it looks
Just
like they...
sympathy spin.
Oh, sympathy understeer looks like.
Yep.
Making their way through the gravel traps, but we stay green and we stay clean out here at Phillip Island. So, now, here for the lead of the race, Glenn Wood, not under much threat from Aaron Oliver at the moment. He's pulling away gradually, lap by lap, but Aaron is going to have to start worrying about Sonny Canchin. Yes, Sonny ran a lap 3/10 slower last time round. Of course, he had to negotiate a couple of cars along the way. But once Sonny starts lapping in clean air, we'll get a bit more of an eye in as to what kind of pace he has, how long it might or might not take him to catch up to Aaron Oliver. As into Lukey Heights, we got side by side between Dave Gogol and Mark Foster. Gogol getting the move done there, and maybe an opportunistic move here from Neil McKenzie. Yep, there we go, up the inside of the braking zone at MG. He gets it done. Running wide behind was Richie Domingo, and we got a spinner behind. Darren Linus has spun.
Yep, Linus has spun around and thankfully keeps it off the racing line. How good was that move from Neil McKenzie? He was like, no, I'm just going to tuck him behind. Oh, hang on. Foster's gone in a little bit too early. I'll just go for it. It was a very, very late move, but very, very well done in the end.
Was indeed. Well, we should be looking at a 12-lap race here with a 30-minute time limit, and the drivers are right in the meat of the race at the moment, very rapidly approaching the end. And in these close battles, it's those final laps that count the most. You have to keep yourself consistent, make sure that you're nailing every apex, every braking zone, every throttle application. Otherwise, you'll end up losing everything that you've worked so hard for over the last 7 laps.
Cars that are pitted, lead car currently P16, that is Tom Huggett. So he is the lead car of the drivers that have come in and taken a fuel splash and dash. We're about a 12.5 second pit stop for him.
Well, that gives us a bit of an idea as to what it might be like in the second race here tonight, as negotiating a little bit more lap traffic there. Riding on board with the number 63 of Todd Huggin, he's chasing down Jamie Walker just up ahead of him there. And Graham Ellis, has he pitted?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Right. I was just going through all of the cars that are pitted, and I'm thinking, geez, most of these are BMWs. As Brenton Bull has a bit of an off there at the hairpin.
You are right. They are almost all BMWs.
Yeah, the Porsche, obviously, of Mr. Ellis there, and another car having a couple of troubles in the latter part of the lap. Goodness, we're having quite a few drivers here.
A few excursions going on at the moment.
Yeah, plenty of room in the gravel trap for this field of cars, but 5 laps to go. We've got a close battle here between Tom Huggin and Jamie Walker, riding on board with Tom. And that's Todd George right behind him. Tom actually completing the move earlier on that lap. Jamie Walker then just behind these two, and can certainly take advantage if either of them come together. But at the moment, seems to be that Todd George and Jamie Walker are going to be battling with each other very shortly. You're going to have to look at Jesse White-Carrick there and the McLaren behind as well. That McLaren does look a bit scary when it's in white. Kind of looks like an Imperial spaceship closing in on you.
A little silver bullet or something, doesn't it? Very, very cool.
Uh-oh.
Hold on to it. Walker does. He's probably going to lose a spot here around the outside. Jesse White-Carrick goes through. A few drivers struggling with rear grip as well, I've noticed throughout this race. Whether it's struggling to get the tyres up to temperature or just the brake bias in the car's not set up well, or not sure, but definitely drivers struggling with rear grip and rear stability.
Yes, maybe the tyres are a bit sensitive to overheating, and if you drive them too hard, then you'll definitely fall off the cliff in terms of grip. Well, Glenwood, Aaron Oliver and Sonny Canchin remain your top three. Wayne Losh has got Damien Seeger now up ahead of him, as we just saw. Canchin, he's not able to make much inroads on Aaron Oliver here, and that's no slight on Sonny Canchin, but I certainly think that Aaron Oliver has put on a great drive here so far, qualifying well enough for 7th on the grid. Ended up getting that 3rd place, no, 4th place, sorry. Oh dear, number 42, Nick McKenzie, another driver having an off at the hairpin, one of the BMWs up ahead of him as well. Goodness me. Plenty of mistakes being made out there tonight, but at least they have another race coming up for them very shortly. We'll get this on the Virtual Racing School replay. To finish my point, I was going to say Aaron Oliver, he's held on to that position incredibly well in this first race tonight. But here's what happened down at the hairpin. Oh dear. Maybe a slightly missed braking point there for Neil McKenzie. Yeah, also dealing with cars ahead.
Just abandoned ship in the end, I think it was. It's like, I'm not going to get through, I'll just take to the grass to make sure I don't take anyone else with me. It's a very, very good idea that kept the race clean. Definitely not how he would have wanted it to go. Is the 13 car there of Richie Domingo. Because Richie probably isn't concentrating on the race as much as he is on his Twitch stream at the moment, because I do know that he's got a couple of donations coming in, so he's probably got someone putting foundation on his face or something right at the moment.
Potentially, and coming into turn 1, Phillip Island, probably the worst place to be having makeup put on. He's going to go defensive here versus Neil McKenzie, and ultimately he does, but McKenzie's going to come back at him here into turn 2, gets a really good run off the exit of the first corner, but cannot take advantage. Oh, Richie, a bit wide in the middle of Southern Loop there. He's going to let the Porsches go. Tony Vaselis has to back out of it, though. He might have to wait until Honda to get the move done. No, actually, Richie Domingo lifts off and lets him go.
It's fighting that too hard in the end, which is probably not a bad idea considering he is a lap down from these guys. There's a few battles going on throughout the field, as you were saying before. Canchin not able to close in on Oliver and Wood as fast as we would have expected. Wayne Losh is definitely dropping back through the field and losing a little bit of ground lap on lap at the moment. But Vaselis versus McKenzie, those two are in a good fight. Duggan, he is flying at the moment, even though he's made the pit stop. The lead car that has pitted, and is by far the quickest of all of those as well.
Yeah, he must have taken tyres in that stop for sure, because that is very nice pace there from Tom Huggan. At the moment, still running in the 1 minute 35s, whereas most of the drivers around him running 36s and 37s. So I think that bodes well for race 2 for him, getting his eye in terms of the strategy. Now everyone except the top 13 plus Jamie Walker and Jake Kinane have pitted.
And Caleb Maddison and Jesse White-Carey.
Yes, of course. Ended up missing those because they were bound in a red box on my timing. That means they're in a battle. Very close together. Only 2 laps to go for our leaders though. Jesse White-Carrig and Mr. Patterson. Getting it done here is, oh dear, that's Greg Holmes off at the entry to the second corner. Wondering if that was a solo mistake or something happening with another car. It looks like his car's clean, so it might have just been a simple error on his part. Either way, he has lost a few positions out of that, and he'll be wanting to improve for race 2.
Shout out to Greg as well for putting this event on as well. He's the one that's been organising this behind the scenes and rounding people up to come in and race as Canane runs off the track. Caleb Patterson just getting passed by Tom Huggan as well. He's just passed Todd George on mistake.
Got a slow car there through Hayshed. Is that Domingo, I wonder? Perhaps it is. So, Richie's still out there plugging away.
Just got his stream up on another screen at the moment. He's struggling big time, so shout out to Richie. He's doing a great job, but yeah, he's definitely got... is that Wasabi?
Oh dear.
Oh, that's not Wasabi. That's a shot. He's got a shot being handed to him at the moment, so there you go. That's where he's up to with his fundraising.
Right. Well, any way you can, whether it's through the link in our description or through Richie Domingo's stream, make sure that you donate to Bears for Hope and the cause that Tom and Kellie Duggan have set up for their daughter Maddison May. Glenwood coming up to the last couple of corners now to conclude the first race of the night here. And for Glenn, starting back in 10th, with that top 10 invert, he had his work cut out for him in the first few laps, and oh dear, that's a bad time for that to happen. Fortunately, he has quite a bit of time to Aaron Oliver behind, so there's no such dramas here for Glenn Wood as he comes up to the line to take the win in race 1 of the Bears for Hope charity event here on SimSpeed TV. Aaron Oliver second and Sonny Canchin coming up to third. Now, we check out the battling further back in the field. Todd George here still battling with Caleb Patterson ahead and Jesse White-Carrick behind. Is there going to be a move at MG? This is where you set it up here into Lukey Heights. The Porsche may be a little bit wide on turn in, but that will certainly help him through the corner. Is it going to be a late dive here for Todd George? No, it's not. He does only have a couple of turns to go here to try and make some moves, and it seems that White-Carrick is... oh, he's rounding him up, but I don't think it's going to work here. Yeah, maybe a little bit wide out of the penultimate corner. No such position gained there, so it looks like that's how they're going across the line.
What a good race that was. That was good fun. Well done to Glenn Wood, Aaron Oliver, Sonny Canchin for the podium, and we get to do it all again. We'll double the length. We'll add some pit stops in for everyone this time, and we'll see how it goes. And just sort of worked out what's happening with Richie Domingo. He's being forced to have a shot every time he goes off the track.
Well, that seems a bit self-defeating to me, because the more shots you take, the more you're going to run off the track. Some people would say that that's a good thing, but if you want to actually race, then probably not the best of ideas. But either way, it's time to go through these results. By 9/10, it was Glenn Wood over Aaron Oliver. It was over 2.3 seconds when they crossed the line to start the final lap, so a dominant victory there from Glenn Wood. Sonny Canchin is going to come home in third place. Seeger and Losh complete the top 5. Aidan Marinovich and Simon Joel Smith 6th and 7th, and it's Anthony Connors, Dave Goggle and Mark Foster who round out the top 10.
Got Neil McKenzie and Tony Vaselis 11th and 12th position there in the end. Tom Huggan finishes 13th, lead car of our pit stop drivers, as well as the lead BMW with Caleb Patterson, Todd George, Jesse White-Carrick, those three in a very, very good battle at the end. Greg Holmes in 17th, Jamie Walker, Lucas Stasi and Lucas Mekaleff rounding out the top 20.
21st across the line was Brenton Bull, and he managed to hold off Jamie Willits by 4 seconds. Then Carl Goodger, the last car to finish on the lead lap. Ben Ferguson, Joel Proctor, who started on pole position here, thanks to the top 10 invert. Not the best of races for him. Neither was it for Bard Rodkin or Wade McCulloch. Richie Domingo, of course, having plenty of adventures over on Twitch, classified 28th. Then it's Darren Linus and Jake Kinane, who round out the top 30. Final few cars, Graham Ellis, Craig Ellis and Craig Taylor. Darren Whittington did not take to the start, and it seems that he didn't set a qualifying time either. Well, the drivers are in warm-up right now, so we can certainly see that they're getting their eye in for race 2, as will we here on SimSpeed TV. We're going to step aside very briefly, but do not go away. You do not want to miss this 45-minute second race with a mandatory pit stop. You're watching the Bears for Hope charity event for Tom and Kellie Duggan here on SimSpeed TV.
This is iRacing, the world's premier online racing game. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat to experience today's newest form of competitive motorsport, virtual racing, all from your home PC. Race virtually in endorsed series from NASCAR, IndyCar, IMSA, the World of Outlaws, Aussie Supercars and more. Take on legendary circuits like Daytona, Silverstone and the Nürburgring. Join iRacing's global online racing community and get on track today at iRacing.com.
Are you new to sim racing, or maybe a veteran struggling to reach the next level? Have you ever wondered how the aliens reach impressive lap times that seem impossible to achieve? If so, you're not alone. Most drivers reach a certain level and get stuck. But getting faster on track is easier than you think. VRS coaches are some of the best sim racers in the world and offer one-on-one driver skills training at affordable rates to help new drivers learn the basics and help experienced drivers break through to the next level. Are you ready to get faster and get off the iRating roller coaster? If so, VRS one-on-one personal training is for you. If you've invested in your equipment, it might be time to invest in yourself. Just go to virtualracingschool.com and sign up for a 30, 60 or 90-minute session with one of our world-class coaches, and you'll learn exactly what to do for faster lap times and more podiums.
You're watching the Bears for Hope charity event here on SimSpeed TV. I'm Reese Gardner, it's Jay Kennedy with me in the box and of course on production behind the cameras. Jay, it's been a really good night of racing so far. There was plenty of action to be seen in that first race here at Phillip Island, but now we go into race 2. It's going to be 45 minutes in length with a compulsory pit stop, and the drivers out there flying in formation. The reason that we are doing this event, Tom Duggan in number 63, he and his wife Kelly were to welcome a baby daughter into the world last month, Maddison May. Unfortunately, she was born sleeping. So now Kelly and Tom, they have set up this event and also a fundraiser over on the Bears for Hope website, which you can donate to through the link in our video description. And certainly I think this event's gone off pretty well so far.
Definitely has, and just went and had a look at the fundraising, and we've gained about $300 since we've gone live. So awesome to see people donating, supporting the cause and supporting Tom and Kelly and what they're doing as well, which is great. And absolutely fantastic event as well, and congratulations to all the drivers for turning up and running as well. And we're about to go in and have an absolutely hectic final race coming up in just a few minutes time.
That we are. Just 10 seconds to go then until the drivers line up for their 24 lap or 45-minute second race here tonight. We are racing for Maddison May, for Bears for Hope. And remember, for every $100 raised, a bear in memory of Maddison will be given to another family with her name and a date of birth on it. One of the many great things that's being provided through the Bears for Hope charity. Let's take a look then at the starting grid now for race 2. Basically the results from race 1. It's Glenn Wood on pole position with Aaron Oliver alongside him. Sonny Canchin and Damien Seeger who start 3rd and 4th, with Wayne Losh and Adam Marinovich rounding out the top 6. 7th and 8th, Simon Joel Smith and Anthony Connors, with Dave Gogol and Mark Foster rounding out the top 10. Neil McKenzie and Tony Vaselis rounding out the top 12.
We've got Tom Duggan and Caleb Patterson on row 7. Todd George, Jesse White-Carrick will start from row number 8. Greg Holmes and Jamie Walker on row 9 in 17th and 18th. Then we've got Lucas Stasi and Lucas Mekulev who will start an all Lucas 10th row. Brenton Bull and Jamie Willits on row 11 with Carl Gudja, I can't even speak today, and Ben Ferguson rounding out the top 12.
Starting out at 25th, Joel Proctor with Bard Rodkin, Wade McCulloch, Richie Domingo and Darren Linus, along with Jake Kinane rounding out the top 30. Then it's Graham and Craig Ellis, Craig Taylor and Darren Whittington, the last car on the grid. But considering he didn't start the first race, he's not there for the second one either. So we have 33 cars out there on track right now. And we're not entirely certain on exactly what the fuel restriction is, Jay, so certainly means we're going to be just as surprised as all the lovely viewers out there are.
We know there's one, that's all we know. So all we know is that there will be a pit stop needed for fuel for every car in the race. But anything more than that, we don't really know. So we'll no doubt find out as you do. But doesn't mean that the race will be any less exciting without that information, because it's going to be very, very action-packed. Porsches at the front four will be looking to hold on to that, and the McLarens and the BMWs will be looking to come through the field and try and take those lead positions away.
That they will. It's going to be a tough one here for the drivers. For the time being, Glenwood, Aaron Oliver and Sonny Canchin have been the star drivers of the night. But can they hold on for this much longer, well, not much longer, but certainly a good portion longer race than what we saw earlier on tonight? Plenty more action to be had, plenty more opportunities for drivers to set up moves, potentially make mistakes. That's certainly what can happen here at Phillip Island. We've already seen that plenty tonight. But it's going to be all about the start here for Glenwood, and deciding when to go can be all the difference between holding on to the lead and potentially losing it.
100%. Making sure he times that run perfectly, knowing that Aaron Oliver will be ready to go at the same time. So you need to make sure that he times that launch absolutely perfectly. You want to nail it 100%, because if he doesn't, he'll lose the lead into turn one.
Well, let's see when he goes then. Pace car is in. Glenwood and Aaron Oliver leading the field here. Glenwood on the outside of the final corner, which will give him the inside for turn one. When does he decide to put the hammer down and begin racing? Everyone raring to go, but they decide to wait all the way until the green flag is called to begin racing, and Wood gets a slightly better start than Aaron Oliver. He's getting pressured by Damien Seeger and Sonny Canchin. They're all forming behind them. Wayne Losh on the inside of Adam Marinovich, and down into the first corner they go. Sonny Canchin getting the move done on Seeger, so files into third behind Wood and Oliver. Oh, bit of contact between two McLarens. Anthony Connors and Simon Joel Smith have come together, and Simon Joel Smith spinning across the track. That has caused a much bigger incident. Plenty of cars in the midfield involved in that, with not many places to go.
A little disappointing that that's how that one played out, but just a classic lap one, turn two incident at Phillip Island, and it's taken quite a few drivers out with it. So unfortunate that that's happened. In the meantime too, Sonny Canchin has got past Aaron Oliver as well.
Yeah, that he has. So now up into second place, and it's going to be critical here to try and round up the back of Glenwood. See if those two can pull away from the rest of the field. Tyres are going to be an issue later on in the race if these guys don't look after them. So Sonny, I think, intending to use as much of that rubber as he can here in the opening couple of laps. Tell you what, keeping pace with them very well at the moment is Wayne Losh. All the way on the back here. Oh, I saw a bit of a slide for Sonny Canchin out of the penultimate corner there. He's managed to hold on to it, but that's a sign that not all may be right in the cockpit of that Porsche Cayman as Richie Domingo. Oh dear. Wow.
I was about to talk him up. He nearly
the same thing.
Yep.
Did the same thing as Sonny Canchin, but quite a bit more sliding involved in that. Everyone's going to have to work their way around him here in the final corner. Goodness, that's created a concertina. Two cars off into the gravel.
Yeah, Tom Huggan also well and truly off the track as well. That was just a little bit messy, but they almost all made it through. Bad thing is, I have to say almost. Oh, another incident. That's Greg Holmes and Jesse White-Carey.
Yeah, the two McLarens potentially coming together there into the first turn. We'll grab that on the Virtual Racing School replay. First off, here's what happened to Tom Huggan. Looks like understeer through the final corner there. And wow, there were three cars off on the gravel that time around. Oh no, it all went wrong for Tom. That's a big shame. Spun around on the start-finish straight. Fortunately, plenty of space for everyone to work their way around. So what happened here between the two McLarens? Oh, it was a spin for Holmes. And
just
unfortunately,
hit the curb on the inside and launched him up in the air.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the other car involved had nowhere to go.
Playing on the replay race.
Oh
bad
dear.
News.
Oh dear. What's happened to Richie Domingo? Let's see what's going on. And this was down at Honda, right?
Yep.
All right. Let's see what went on then down at this corner. Was it a mistake? Was it contact? Looks to me like, oh dear. Bit of a spirited entry there, and oh no. Ooh, traction control kicked in on the exit apparently.
Kicked in the wrong spot.
Yeah, you do want traction control to help you out in situations like that, but yeah, if you're starting a slide when it happens, it's going to be very difficult to recover. And it looks like Richie Domingo's actually pulled it back into the pits. Hopefully he'll be able to get back out there and continue racing. Tell you what, Aaron Oliver and Sonny Cancian, they are not letting each other go here. Sonny still in hot pursuit of Glenn Wood, but Aaron Oliver starting to pile the pressure on, and they're both pulling away from Damien Seeger and Wayne Losh behind. Definitely
are. They're doing a very, very good job. They're almost working together rather than fighting. They're just sitting nose to tail and working in unison. Craig Ellis has a little bit of a moment. Side by side up ahead as well. Aaron Linus, Mark Foster, Jamie Willits all together. Joel Proctor having a little bit of a moment out of Honda Hairpin. We'll lose a couple more spots. Anthony Connors has a loop around the Honda Hairpin as well, as Aaron Oliver's having some tech issues, so hopefully that doesn't cost him to drop out from the race.
Yeah, hopefully. That's no good.
There he is, he's back.
Yeah, a little bit further behind Sonny Cancian than he was. Well, hopefully he'll be able to hold on and take a double podium here tonight. That would certainly lift his spirits. But for the time being, it seems Glenn Wood is in control of this race. It's all going to come down to the pit stops and how they're executed if Sonny Cancian wants a chance at the win here.
Yep, pit stop definitely going to be key, and Sonny will need to make sure that he saves a tiny little bit of fuel here so he can take a little bit less in the pit stop as Ben Ferguson comes in from 10th position. So a few drivers starting to come in now, thinking they might as well come in. Possibly we'll be getting some damage fixed as well, and then we'll get back out there and race on to the end of the race.
Let's hope. Well, it's a pretty long race ahead for these drivers, and pit stops probably not at the forefront of anyone's minds just yet. But I do think in the next few laps we'll be starting to see drivers thinking about a run into the lane. We've already seen a few drivers further towards the back of the field come into the lane. Jamie Willits, Carl Goodger, Bard Rodkin, Wade McCulloch and Darren Linus, they've all made their way into the lane. Linus and Rodkin are now out, so those look to be the first scheduled pit stops we've seen from our drivers. As goodness me, that looked like oversteer there for Sonny Cancian, but looks like he might have just been using that to widen the entry into the penultimate corner. I mean, the earlier you get on the throttle, the better, really. It's flat out through the final turn, and you get to carry that momentum all the way down the front straight.
Exactly right. Just, good drivers can make cars look like they're absolutely out of control when they've got them completely in control, don't they? They just seem to have a knack and a skill of being able to do something that doesn't look humanly possible to do in a car. And Sonny's proven that time and time again, usually in the MX-5, but doing it again in the Porsche GT4 at the moment.
Well then, got another car in the pits there. That's Brenton Bull, and he's been stopped for about 15 seconds now, joined in the pits by Lucas McAuliffe, Todd George and Joel Proctor. The BMWs seem to be really liking pit lane at the moment. Let's see what the Porsches and the McLarens end up doing. Meanwhile, the battle for second. Aaron Oliver still chasing down Sonny Cancian here, and he might get some assistance. They got some lapped traffic up ahead of them. Between our leader in P2, it is Carl Goodger, and then they come up on Wade McCulloch as well on the outside of Lukey Heights. This is going to be a bit intense. Cancian going to the inside there, just up ahead of Aaron Oliver. Traffic negotiation. This is not a multi-class race, but you still have to have your prototype brain on.
A little bit nerve-wracking there for Aaron too, because he had a car right on the inside as he got to the apex of the corner, and then there was the slow car on the outside, so he sort of didn't know where to go or how to do it, but he did a good job to not lose himself any time. And Well, maybe lost a tenth or two, but still that was pretty well done considering how messy that was starting to look. Wayne Losh is one I'm interested in at the moment. His lap times are very, very good. And he's starting to close that gap down on Damien Seeger ahead.
He is, and just ahead of them, Wade McCulloch going straight off that southern loop. And McCulloch was just ahead of Seeger in that blue Porsche. I did see Seeger flash the headlights. I think he was trying to get him out of the way there so that he could stay ahead of Wayne Losh. These guys are another pair that have not been able to be separated since the start of the race. They've kept it nice and consistent for sure. And remember, both of these guys started in the top 10 for race 1 as well. So outside of Wood, Kanchan and Oliver, these guys are some of the top competitors in the field, I reckon.
Definitely the case. You had to say when you said Seeger was flashing the lights to Wade McCulloch to get him to move out of the way. I don't think that was how he was intending him to get him to move out of the way. Wayne Losh looking very, very racy. He wants to get this done, but while they're starting to fight a little bit, you can see that gap between Seeger and Losh up to that lead group definitely starting to stretch now. Out to 2 and a bit seconds, and last lap was half a second lost, and probably about the same in this lap. So Wayne Losh will be starting to think that lead is going and going quickly, and the chances of him getting back up to a podium are starting to drop every single lap that he's stuck behind Damien Seeger.
Oh dear, that's not often a sight you want to see. Coming out, Darren Linus out of the motorcycle pit exit, and Tony Vaselis is actually stopped on the outside of turn 1. He has been for some time. Not too sure what's going on for him there. He's obviously had an off. Just rewinding to see what happened to him. Yeah, he came out of the pits, but yeah, it seems to me that he just came to a stop on the grass. Not too sure what's going on there for Tony, but we move back forward. Jake Kinane in 17th place. He's fighting off one heck of a charge here.
Had a tech issue, and then it's ended up looping him around, so...
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Wow, that's an interesting tank slapper there.
You don't often see cars off in that gravel trap between turns 11 and 12, do you?
No.
Not a often used gravel trap. Go back to the front, because Len Woods lost a whole heap of time on this lap with traffic, and Kanchan and Oliver have had a lot more good luck. Oliver's closed that gap down to literally nothing.
Well, the race for the top 3 still well and truly on here at Phillip Island. Oh, so close to looping it there for Aaron Oliver. The exit of the final turn, you're battling understeer the whole way round, and you got that curb to save you. But if you turn in a bit too early, then the grass is all you're going to be going for as they pass the continually stricken Tony Vaselis there, who's still stopped out on track. Aaron Oliver pushing very hard into the entries of these turns. They got a car off behind them. Simon Joel Smith, his second big off of the night there, but certainly not as bad as what happened to him on lap 1.
No, definitely a little bit more control.
Oliver.
Here we go. Oh, he thought about it there, but that was a very, very late change of mind there, wasn't it? He was going to go for it and then realised, no, I'm probably not close enough, and tucked back in behind. But showing some intent now, so Kanchan will be starting to get a little bit worried about how this is going to play out.
Yeah, indeed he will. Aaron Oliver is starting to show some big shades of pace here, and with the lead still well in sight for these two, they've both still got something to fight for here. Next car up the road for these guys is Bard Rodkin, currently running around 22nd position, 23rd to be exact. But it looks like they might come up on him in a part of the track that's not too bad for traffic, so we'll see how they deal with it. As into the pits comes Aaron Oliver. That is a big call.
Decided he didn't want to worry about how that traffic was going to impact or potentially impact, so he decided to come in. Get service done, Damien Seeger in, and Wayne Losh actually made a mistake on the previous lap as well and lost all of that ground that he'd started to close up. These two guys have been starting to close up as well. This is Lucas Stasi and Adam Maranovic. They're getting quite close, quite racy. and see if this turns into a bit of a more extreme battle.
Let's see for sure. Battle of the Porsches. Ford is now 4th and 5th on track. Of course, these guys haven't pitted yet, so they will be falling a bit further back in the field, maybe a couple of positions once they've come in for their stops. But Marinovic looking pretty competitive here versus Stasi. That said, it looks like Stasi gapped him on the last lap, but we know the lap time fluctuations in these GT4s, so certainly every chance that Marinovic can come back at him. They have to worry from behind Caleb Patterson, 6th place at the moment, but he is quite a ways behind, separated from them by a few lapped cars. But if either of them makes a mistake, they're going to be right there with him. So Stasi and Marinovic, priority number 1 is to keep it clean. Aaron Oliver, meanwhile, out of the pits and rejoining there in 9th place ahead of Damien Seeger.
Seeger actually had a 1 second faster pit stop than Aaron Oliver, so Seeger, maybe the pace difference is due to how much loud pedal he's using, and loud pedal usage is down now for Glenn Wood because he's in the lane.
All right, the leader comes in. Sonny Canchin will assume the lead of race 2 of the Bears for Hope charity event here at Phillip Island. As we check in with, briefly, our old friend, Mr. Losh. Currently in 2nd now, thanks to everyone else coming into the pits. But like you said, Jay, he did make a couple of mistakes on the last lap, so certainly not the best of nights for him. But Glenn Wood completing his stop. Be interesting to see where he comes out, because he's got a lot of cars coming up on him here. That's Craig Ellis that's just gone by him. Tom Huggan as well. Of course, they are separated quite a ways in terms of positions, so I'd expect Huggan to let Mr. Wood go in due course. And it looks like, well, maybe a bit of a squeeze up the inside. Oh no, Tom Huggan's turned around there. Oh dear, maybe a bit of miscommunication there between the lapping car and the lapped car. Either way, that is the lead of the race surely gone there for Mr. Wood.
That was an ambitious place to try and get that done, but I think he realised that Aaron Oliver was coming very, very, very quickly and decided, well, I'm just going to have to go for it. I think you're right, lack of communication or misjudgment there. It's the little weave across and then 2 wheels in the dirt. Probably would have been enough for him given if Glenn Wood hadn't have touched the grass there, but cutting across the dirt usually ends in no grip.
Usually. Either way, that's a big shame to see. Tom Huggan is now in the pits and out of the car. So hopefully he'll be able to get back out on track before the race ends. But having lost Tom Huggan for the time being from this event is a real shame.
Hopefully we'll see him out there on track, but definitely teammates representing. Awesome job from the Carbon Esports guys to have, 10 or 12 cars out there for tonight's race. Awesome to see how many they've got out there.
That's insane. Really awesome to see all of Tom's teammates getting behind this cause. Brilliant stuff. And they're all running nicely in a line here at the moment. Todd George, Joel Proctor, Lucas McAuliffe flying in formation. Awesome stuff. Great team photo opportunity as well.
Yeah, they definitely had a few good social opportunities, social media photo ops with the lap that they did during the warm-up as well, and did a similar thing during the practice as well, so good to see them all out there flying in formation. Jamie Walker comes in to make his pit stop. Glenwood starting to try and close back in this ground that he lost after that huge error and huge misjudgment not that long ago.
Yeah, he's probably going to have to settle for top 5 at least at this stage. And we were focused on Dave Gogol a little bit earlier. He had a spin in Southern Loop, but he managed to get it back going without involving any other cars. Sonny Canchin has come into the pits. Now, this is going to be crucial here for the race lead, this time versus Aaron Oliver. Car stopped at pit lane exit. That's Jamie Walker. And he just took his pit stop, didn't he? Something's gone very wrong for him there.
We'll replay that in a second, but yeah, how did he end up there? That's not a spot that you see cars ever.
Yeah, I can see what happened here. He went to take the motorcycle pit exit, but got onto the grass and ended up having a bit of a spin as Sonny Canchin re-enters the circuit. So we'll see what went on here for Mr. Walker. And you can take both pit exits here at Phillip Island if you so desire, depending on whether the car's coming up on you out on track. Mr. Walker electing to go for the motorcycle pit exit, and unfortunately, just catching the grass, looks like it set the car into a slide, and he went straight into the pit exit wall.
Yep, I've done that one before. Not for a long time, but definitely have done that one before.
Well, back to the racing action. The teammates still flying in formation out here, but Sonny Canchin has managed to keep the overall race lead here from Aaron Oliver. Gap now out to 1.4 seconds. So it's looking more and more difficult here for Oliver to try and overcome Sonny here.
Saving grace could be traffic though, because we've seen the traffic has played a factor's played impact in this race at some point. So whether that continues, find out as Moranovic has come in. So there's only, what, 4 cars left to pit now? Losh, Foster, Gogol and White Carrot.
Let's see when they elect to come into the pits. They would have to pretty soon. We're now past half race distance. Adam Marinovic, Mark Foster and Dave Gogol, just as you mentioned that, Jay, they've all come into the lane. So looks to me like the field largely cleansed. Only car left to pit now, Wayne Losh. And we'll see if this extra track time on these tyres manages to get him the time he needs to gain a couple of positions back.
Richie Domingo watch. He's now up to eating the ramen noodles.
Oh, excellent. That means that he has exceeded $600 in donations on his
Either
stream.
that or he's just doing it for the sake of doing it.
Ah.
Oh, look, he's off the track again.
Oh, dear. Yes, you can't see it here on the live feed, but there we go. I think those tyre tracks might have something to do with it.
Yep, they're his tyre tracks.
Mm-hmm.
Another shot. Hate to know how many he's had. He's doing a good job considering how many times he has been off the track. I know I wouldn't be driving straight by that point.
Yeah, certainly. Well, he's keeping it between the white lines for the most part and avoiding contact with other cars, which is good to see. That gap has gone down between Canchin and Oliver up the front, now under a second. So Sonny, either he's had an inconsistent lap or he has encountered a bit of traffic along the way, because Aaron Oliver's starting to line up a charge here.
Definitely is. He's starting to apply some pressure. Trying to work out how he can gain some ground. He's just set his fastest lap of the race, personal fastest lap, first lap in the 1:34s in this race for him. Sonny Canchin does have the fastest lap, 1:34.8. That's 1:34.9 for Aaron Oliver. So that does close the gap down a tiny, tiny little bit. Jesse White Carrick comes in, so only 1 car left to pit, that being Wayne Losh.
And of course, Losh out in the lead at the moment. He would have to come in pretty soon, and I think with that traffic ahead of him, he might elect to pit now, lose as little time as he possibly can on board with the 068. Oh dear, an incident ahead of him. Oh, good incident avoidance there, but unfortunately that's cost him more time, so I think he might as well dive in and cut his losses.
Yeah, I agree. And remember, his battle is against Damien Seeger. Last lap by, they lapped very, very identical lap times, so in he comes, we'll see. And now, because of Glenwood's error, that is now a battle for a podium spot.
It is. So, despite Wayne Losh making a slight mistake, he might still be in contention here with Damien Seeger. We will monitor what's going on. Pit stop times have roughly been around 17, 18 seconds for a normal stop. Doesn't look like the drivers have actually taken tyres here. Looks like Wayne Losh still stationary in the lane, getting it done. Canchen and Oliver filter back through into the lead. There's Seeger. You just saw him on the left side of the screen, and it looks like that's going to be the position well and truly for him. No chance for Wayne Losh to make that up.
No, he's going to have to drive very, very hard. He may actually lose a spot to, yeah, he has lost a spot to Glenn Wood as well. So the long stop, well, sorry, the late stop definitely played havoc, and a favourite driver is off the circuit once again. But what a good cause and what a good reason to be off the circuit. Having fun and raising money along the way.
Absolutely, that's the main goal of this event. Us commentators are just here to try and spice it up and tell the story of the race for you here on YouTube. We're all behind this cause set up by Tom and Kellie Duggan for their daughter Maddison May. September 14th, her day of birth. Tom Huggan back out on track. Last time we saw him, he was in the pits after getting spun around, but he's made it back out and is plugging away. Good to see. And looking like he might be able to fight for position towards the end here if there are a couple of incidents up ahead of him. But Aaron Oliver and Sonny Canchen are the ones battling for the race win here, and Aaron driving as hard as he possibly can here. The gap down to 0.6 of a second now. He's well within draft range of Sonny Canchen. But Sonny's going to be getting a slight slipstream from these cars up ahead of him. Once they get to the twistier bits, though, that's where Oliver is going to have the advantage.
Definitely. Definitely plays into Canchen's favour, the fact that he's got draft as well as another car off at turn 1, 2 cars off at turn 1. That's one way for the guys to not have to worry about traffic.
Yeah,
the
Darren
traffic just gets out of
Linus.
the way.
Yes, Darren Linus in the BMW and Jesse White-Carrig in the McLaren both going off at the first turn. Through goes Glenn Wood. And has something happened to Wayne Losh, or has the gap just evened out?
Yeah, he's come out a fair way back.
Yeah. All right, so it seems the gap has evened out there. I thought he might have had a bit of a problem on his outlap. So either way, this battle for the lead well and truly on, and have a look at how hard Aaron Oliver is driving it into these turns, using the front tyres to their max. It's all on here. Phillip Island, all on the line for Sonny Canchen and Aaron Oliver. These two Porsche Caymans battling hard up the front of the field. Seems that the Cayman has been the car of choice for some of the fastest drivers out there, and look at how much Oliver continues to gain on the run into Lukey Heights. This is some fantastic racing we're seeing. How hard is Sonny Canchen going to defend? Oliver definitely going to have the draft down the front stretch. This might be a move into turn 1.
Definitely could be. Canchen can't hold up through the apex because that'll force the move. The only saving grace Canchen may have is that he can gain draft as well, but looks like Oliver's going to get all of the draft, and this should be move done. Even if he doesn't get it done by the exit of turn 1, might be close enough to be able to do it into 2. No, backs out of it. Good driving from Canchen to hold on.
Indeed, and they got a bit of lap traffic to deal with there on the inside. That's in the Repsol car, Simon Joel Smith. They both managed to get through on him. But have a look at the battling up ahead. It's quite close between Graham Ellis and Richie Domingo. They're not fighting for position, by the way. Graham Ellis in 20th, Richie Domingo in 30th. Canchen behind, going defensive here. Oh, Richie Domingo. This is going to be adventurous here for our race leaders.
Getting into a little bit more of a spicy battle, and if these two continue to fight as they are, they could allow Seeger, Wood, Losh, or others to close up the gap behind. I mean, they're a long way back now, but it doesn't take much for one error to lose you 3, 4, 5 seconds at this track. So we'll be very, very careful of that.
Oh no, Canchen, he goes off. Oh no, swipes out of the way. Oh, just avoiding collecting Richie Domingo and Aaron Oliver. He split the difference between the two of them. Unfortunate there for Sonny Canchen, trying to negotiate the lapped car, but got a bit of understeer over the rise at Lukey Heights.
I thought that was going to end in tears for both Oliver and Canchen, and the good news is Sonny's been able to continue on, but have a look at this. How close was this to taking everyone out with him?
You couldn't put it more perfectly if you tried. Unfortunate there, though, for Sonny Canchin. That is the win well and truly gone. And with Aaron Oliver now in the lead by just about 7 seconds, he doesn't have to worry too much about trying to get past this traffic efficiently.
No, he can take his time and weave his way through a little bit slower. Glenn Wood, he's not taking anything, any liberties at all. He's just going all out. And Damien Seeger will be seeing this black Cayman close in and close in at a fairly rapid rate, because Glenwood is closing at around about half a second a lap. That means in 3 more laps, he'll be right on the tail.
Well, that's going to be surely a battle for the ages as well. Blue versus black, Porsche versus Porsche, Seeger versus Wood. See how it works out. He'll certainly be with him with a few laps to go. Virtual Racing School replay then. Going to catch something that happened out here on track for Richie Domingo, our friend streaming on Twitch. What happened to him here down at the Honda Hairpin?
Whatever's happened, he's now out of the race. That's unfortunate, but not sure if that's a positive or a negative that he's out of the race. It just looked like a tech issue there, and then he escaped back to the pits.
Yeah, compounded with understeer in the Honda Hairpin. Well, it's a shame there that we've lost Richie Domingo, but certainly he's achieved quite a few of his donation goals in this night of racing. Glenn Wood now within slipstream range of Damien Seeger, drawing up on him little by little down the front stretch. If he plays his cards right through the first couple of turns, this could be a move up the inside into the Honda Hairpin. Let's see what he can gain through Southern Loop. Closes right up, much more aggressive on the entry than Damien Seeger is, and manages to maintain the momentum through the corner and out on the exit. I don't think he's quite close enough to go for a move at the hairpin this time, but next lap it'll certainly be a possibility.
And I've found out what's happened with Richie Domingo. DQ for incident limit, so that's unfortunate for him. But
oh dear.
He's reached the 25 incident limit, but he's had a fun time doing it and provided some entertainment for all of us, and some great donations have come through as well.
That they have. The donations are now over $2,000 on Kelly Huggins' charity cause. Link in the description, of course. $2,193 have been raised now, and that is awesome to see the generosity of the sim racing community as Glenn Wood goes for the move on Damien Seeger at MG, and textbook as you like, gets it done beautifully.
Beautiful move in the end there for Glenn Wood. Get that done over Damien Seeger. It was a very, very nice move, and as you said, textbook clinical move. Perfect move that we see here at Phillip Island, the classic move at MG. He did it absolutely perfect, like he's probably done time and time before at Phillip Island in real life.
Absolutely. Big advantage here of iRacing having laser scanned tracks is the track is very similar to how it is in real life at the moment. So Glenn Wood certainly getting his eye in with real life practice for sim racing. Usually we see drivers doing it the other way around. But in terms of the lead now for Glenn Wood, it's still over 7 seconds away. But Aaron Oliver is still having to pick his way through plenty of traffic here. And if there's a coming together, then Glenn Wood is going to be right there to take advantage.
I want to shout out to a few of the members of this race that have donated lots of money for the cause as well. All the Domingo group have donated a whole heap throughout. Graham Ellis donated a big amount. Simworks, of course, big supporters of the series on Tuesday nights. They've donated a good amount of money as well. Jay Dixon's donated a good amount of money. Lucas McAuliffe's donated over $100. $160. Emma DuPont, great job for donating all of that. It up to 2,000 plus. Absolutely fantastic. Considering we started the day, I think, on $1,300 or $1,400, to see it over $2,200 now is absolutely fun.
It is. I mean, I think you can always count on the sim racing community to open their hearts and open their wallets for charity as well. We've had plenty of excellent charity events run over the past few years here on SimSpeed TV. Of course, we used to have the Oceanic Sim Racing Race of Champions supporting the Kids with Cancer Foundation. Then we had the Race for Relief last year to provide relief for the firefighters involved in fighting the big bushfires that took place here in Australia over the summer of 2019 and 2020. And now, of course, this event. Awesome to see as we ride on board with Dave Gogol, chasing down 10th spot at the moment. Brenton Bull up there ahead of him, and Brenton's had an excellent drive. He started outside the top 20 and is now up into 10th.
Brilliant drive. Banking bolt positions. Lucas Stasi, the biggest mover in the field, plus 13, started 19th into 6th, which is absolutely fantastic. But Brenton Bull done a great job, but Gogol wants to get back in the top 10. You can tell that in the way that he's driving the car at the moment. Brenton Bull will have to be very, very careful to make sure that there's no little gap open, as Gogol will try and take it any chance he can take.
Last lap they were pretty matched in terms of lap time as well, but Gogol, it seems, getting a good run here up to Honda, sticks the nose out and just lets Brenton Bull know he's there. Oh, and it looks like it might have worked as a bit of a psych-out maneuver because Bull understeering into the hairpin. Of course, there was a car off there as well, which might have distracted him, but either way, that is Dave Gogol up into the top 10.
Yep, nice move. And doesn't matter how you get it, sometimes those little mistakes do come from, oh, okay, I've got this driver wanting to come up the inside, and just a slight little lack of concentration or lapse of concentration has just been enough to cause that minor error from Brenton Bull. But considering he's already up so many positions, I wouldn't be surprised that he comes back through and can get this spot back. I reckon it might happen at the end of the Gardner Straight.
We'll have to wait and see. Looked like a slightly better exit there for Gogol, but Bull is still within draft range here. Can certainly draw up to the back of him down the front straight here at Phillip Island. But it looks like as they cross the line, maybe a little bit too far back to try anything. We'll see if he can get himself back into a rhythm and make a move at Honda Hairpin potentially.
This isn't the only battle going on at the moment. There's this one just up ahead. Mark Foster, Adam Maranovic. Maranovic thought about throwing it up the inside, but then pulled out of it last second.
Gently does it. These two Porsches battling ridiculously hard at the moment. And this is for 8th and 9th position on track at the moment. So not quite the battle for the win, but still, any opportunity you can get to have a good race with a rival, you certainly take it. And Marinovic, certainly confident on the brakes and on entry, maybe a little overconfident, running very wide through Lukey Heights. We'll see if he can try and gain that position a bit further down the line, but with only 2 laps to go for our leader, Aaron Oliver. It's looking to me like that is the race decided up at the front. Glenn Wood's been doing a sterling job of bringing that gap down. It's down to 5.7 seconds now, but there's just not enough time for him to make up that gap unless there's a mistake from the number 70.
Yeah, not long left in this one now. Sonny Kenshin has actually lost heaps of time lately too, so he's nowhere near the back of Damien Seeger. Remember, we thought he was going to close up after that error earlier, but the damage probably too much and not able to close in that gap. Unfortunate for him. Lucas Mekulev, Joel Proctor still going at it, the teammates. Oh, Glenn Wood's off the track.
Oh no! And it looks like Damien Seeger has gotten back by him for 2nd place. Something happened down at MG. Was this a solo error from Glenn Wood? Looks like it might have been. No, actually. It is a bit of contact with another car on the exit of MG. That's a very odd place to have an incident, but either way, Glenn Wood now back to 3rd. He'll still be able to complete the podium positions from here, but that is not an incident he would have wanted to have. He has lost a position out of that. It is the final lap, though, for Aaron Oliver, who now enjoys an over 10-second lead versus Damien Seeger. Just a few bits more traffic to complete here for Aaron Oliver before he can come away with the win. And how fitting that one of the last cars we see here racing on the track is the number 63 of Tom Duggan. Moves over to let the leader go. It's obviously been a very tough time for Tom and Kellie Duggan, but hopefully the generosity displayed by the sim racing community and the help that they'll be giving to other grieving families out there will certainly be a wonderful thing to have. But only a couple of turns to go now for our race leader, Aaron Oliver. He was a threat for the lead in race 1, tried his best to fight with Sonny Canchin and Glenn Wood. But now, as both of those guys have fallen down in race 2, Aaron Oliver will take the spoils of victory. Last turn completed then, flat out across the line. And Aaron Oliver, a very happy Aaron Oliver, will come home across the line with Mr. Duggan right behind him.
Fitting that Tom's come across the line right there with him, so awesome to see. Damien Seeger will cross the line P2, Glenn Wood in 3rd just behind, and Glenn will be absolutely devastated that he threw away the 2nd position. We go to the battle we were watching just before.
Oh, get on the throttle harder, commit to the inside. No, it's not going to happen. Seems that that's all she wrote in terms of the battle for 8th and 9th. No chance of a pass unless Mark Foster has a bit of an understeer moment at the final corner. Oh no, oh no, a spinner ahead. They both make contact with the BMW. That was Ben Ferguson that they made contact with. Ultimately, getting by is Adam Marinovich, and Mark Foster, carrying a great deal of damage on his front bumper, will cross the line behind in 9th place.
Unlucky for Mark, but Marinovich takes advantage. Not the way that they wanted to end that battle, and the teammates are going to finish nose to tail in their fight. Brendan Bull ahead of Todd George. Joel Proctor trying to get past Lucas Mikulev, won't get that done in the end, unfortunate for him, but what a battle. Oh, actually, fuel. Right, holds on.
Nah. Just flying in formation there. The teammates of Tom Duggan. Let's go through the race results then. By nearly 11 seconds, it's Aaron Oliver over Damien Seeger. Glenn Wood, he could have finished 2nd. He could have won. But 2 incidents out on track. Contact with lapped cars, putting paid to that. Sonny Canchin recovering to finish in 4th after his spin. He would have been hoping for more there from the 2nd race. Wayne Losh completing the top 5. Then we got Stasi, McKenzie, Marinovich winning that battle with Mark Foster in some dramatic fashion, with Dave Gogol rounding out the top 10.
We got Brenton Bull and Todd George, the end in their little fight. Finished nose to tail in the end in 11th and 12th. Lucas Mikulev and Joel Proctor in 13th and 14th. And Greg Holmes finishes 15th, the last driver on the lead lap. Bard Rodkin, Jamie Willits, Anthony Connors, Simon Joel Smith and Carl Goodger all in the top 20. Those final 5, 1 lap down.
Indeed. Graham Ellis, Jesse White, Carrig coming home 21st and 22nd. Ben Ferguson, Caleb Patterson and Tom Duggan round out the top 25 there, with Wade McCulloch, Darren Linus, Jake Kinane, Craig Ellis and Richie Domingo rounding out the top 30. Richie Domingo, the first of our true retirements here today. Craig Taylor, Jamie Walker and Tony Vaselis were not able to make it to the end. Well, that brings to an end proceedings for this event, Jay. Certainly a wonderful cause to present. Once again, the link to donate is in the YouTube description. If you can, please consider donating. We've raised a ton of money here today, Jay. Fantastic to see.
Awesome work by the sim racing community once again to raise funds for a great cause, and the sim racing community in Australia and New Zealand never fails to deliver in these sort of events. So congratulations to everyone who's raised money and a job well done. Let's keep raising some more and get it to 2,500 by the end of the week.
Let's indeed do that. Well, we thank you very much for tuning in here on SimSpeed TV and to the various Twitch streams out there of drivers broadcasting their perspective of this race. We certainly thank you very much for your patronage of this channel and for supporting this wonderful cause. Once again, we're racing for Maddison May Duggan, born sleeping on September the 14th. Give all of your love to Tom and Kellie Duggan. Certainly, they will be happy with how things have gone here tonight with the generosity displayed by the sim racing community. I'm Reese Gardner, Jay Kennedy alongside me in the commentary box. From all of us here at SimSpeed TV, we say thank you once again and goodbye.
This is fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's got everything outside of both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taking Anderson. Anderson's up top.
Oh my god!
Big crash. Oh my goodness, half the field's going to get rolled.
Six very close. These guys are going to want to make their way through the field very quickly.
Oh, there we go! Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my god!
God, what?